Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Let me ask you, are you an LLC owner struggling to get business credit cards? Okay, if that's you, then this video is going to help you, all right? Because there's 5 questions I want to ask, and I want you to honestly think about this. The first one is, do you have the right business? All right. Now, here's the reason why. I'm going to talk about the best business credit cards for your LLC. But here's the thing about it. Do you have the right business model? All right. Now, here's some business models that people actually choose that may hinder them from getting business funding, okay, or business credit card. People want to get into real estate. They want to do Airbnb and stuff like that. Well, here's the thing about it. Those type of businesses, anything related to real estate, that you register your company as a real estate or investment type of company or whatever, then this is a high risk NAICS code, okay? And so this here can actually hinder you from getting business funding. Now, if you're trying to do like Airbnb arbitrage and stuff like that, you have to look at something that's in the real estate servicing industry, okay? Like real estate design or something like real estate marketing, something that the banks more or less understand is an actual service that's going to bring in revenue, but nothing that's going to actually keep you from looking as if you're gambling. All right. So that's the reason why I tell you that. Now, the second question is, and that reference back to your right NAICS code as well. Second question is, do you have the right bank account? Okay, now this is important, and the reason it's important is because a lot of people, when they start their LLCs, they're going to go to their local community bank, right? Or they're going to go with the banks that most people would say give them the easiest amount of funding with no revenue. And that's great because many banks will give you business funding with no revenue. So that ain't the problem. However, one of the bigger challenges is if you're having actual revenue coming into the business and business transactions, if you have the wrong bank, then it's not going to build up your business credit file. So that's the reason why I tell you guys, you have to be very careful with that. Number 3 is, do you have good or bad credit? This also, as an LLC owner, is going to affect you. All right. So many people, they would go in and they say, well, I'm going to start this business. However, you may be starting a business, but are you starting this business with good or bad credit? Now, here's the thing about it. If you have bad credit and you add somebody on to the company as a partner, everybody that's a partner that's associated with that LLC, they're going to pull their credit as well. Okay. So you have to keep that in mind. All right. Number 4 is, do you have proof of income, or are you going off a stated income? All right. Now, this is very big because a lot of people, they're like, well, I prefer to go off a stated income because it may be a startup, right? And that goes to number 5, whether you're a startup or you're bringing in revenue. All right. Now, this also can define whether they're going to give you a business credit card or not. All right. So that's the reason why that you should think about those 5 questions. Now, talking about where to start at with the right business credit card. Now, I always tell you, when you're starting out, you really should build that foundation up. Okay. And what I mean by that is adding trade lines that actually report to the business credit bureaus. All right. So as an LLC owner, the first credit card you should consider is NAV. All right. And the reason I tell you that is because NAV is actually going to give you 2 trade lines. Okay. They're going to give you a trade line because you're using their monitoring service to actually take a look at your personal credit and monitor your business credit, okay? And then they're going to give you a business credit card. And this is very important. And here's the reason why. Because it's a financial instrument that's actually reporting on your business credit file. Now, here's the thing about it. By them giving you 2 trade lines, they're reporting to Experian Business, Equifax Business, Dun and Bradstreet, okay? So they're going to report to the major business credit bureau. Now, some people don't know that you don't need a DUNS number or a paydex score in order to actually get business funding, business credit cards. You don't need that. However, I always tell people to build up the business credit file. All right. Now, again, going back to NAV, the reason why is because not only if it's giving you 2 trade lines, and it's actually that credit card that they actually give you, it has no upfront. So that means it's an unsecured charge card. The mistake people use is that they get a card, they may only give them $500, and people don't use that $500. Well, because you don't actually use the card, they cannot get any financial data to report to your business credit profile. Okay, so that's the reason why a lot of people end up behind when trying to build up business credit, because they have the opportunity to. However, when you have bad credit and you get in a card that no upfront fees, they're not looking at the personal credit, and you don't use the credit card, then that's your problem. That's not the problem of the company, okay? So that's number one. Number two, if you have bad credit, then you want to look at the Capital One Spark Classic card, okay? That's the gold card. And the reason why is because with the Capital One Spark Classic card, if you had a Capital One personal card in the past, they will still possibly, I'm gonna say possibly, let you still get approved for the Capital One Spark business card. And here's the thing about it, all you need is a 580 credit score. Now, the unfortunate thing about this here Capital One card is that it does report on both the personal and the business, okay? So that's something that you have to consider, all right? Now, number 3 is looking at core pay. Why? Because core pay reports to Experian business, Equifax business. Now with core pay, they are net 21 type of card, okay? So basically look at it as a charge card. And they pull Experian FICO 8, okay? So that's something you have to know as well. But you only need a 600 credit score. The reason I'm telling you this is start with the foundation. Start with the foundation of building the business credit with those easy business credit cards. Now, American Express has a Plum card, okay? It's a net 60 card, okay? Now, here's the thing about it with American Express. You do have to actually be American Express card holder first. So what they do, they pull your Experian FICO 8 scoring, okay? Now, here's the thing about it with this Plum card. Since it's a net 60, remember I was telling you about, like, if you're trying to get into Airbnb, arbitrage, and things of that nature? Well, the thing about it is that using a net 60 account, like with the American Express Plum card, then you'll have 60 days to use it. Now, I know some people are like, well, I need money for other things like car repairs and stuff like that. Again, remember, we're looking at the bad credit. Now let's look at the good credit. So what I mean by good credit, if you have at least a 660 or higher, then you may want to consider, usually I would tell you with American Express, the safer card is the American Express Blue Cash card, okay? If you have, usually, like I said, depending on the relationship you have with them, a 660, you may be able to get this card. And the reason why I tell you this Blue Cash everyday card, to be clear about it, is because with this here card, you're able to get 0% interest on purchases and balance transfers for up to 15 months. No, excuse me, 12 months, because it is a business credit card. All right. So that's the reason why. Now, let's talk about Chase. Okay. So with the Chase Inc. business credit cards. Now, here's the thing about it. We all know that with Chase, they have the 524, right? So that means that if you have 5 open revolving accounts within the past 24 months, then they may make it challenging for you to get approved for one of their cards. All right, so that's the reason why I tell you guys, you have to make sure if you're going to use Chase and Chase, Capital One, and Citibank. Let me explain this. Because they report to more of the business credit bureaus, this is why I also tell you you should have them as one of your major relationship banks. Okay, so that's your tier one funding when you're dealing with Amex, Bank of America, Chase, Citibank. Those are your tier one funding. Now, as a new startup, they don't tend to give you as much capital. Okay, so they're being very conservative, especially in the climate we're in now. So that's something you also have to consider. All right, but the Chase Inc. business credit card is the credit card you want to go out, because again, it's 12 months for 0% interest on purchases and balance transfers. All right, now when it comes to, let's say people want the Sam's Club, right? Because they're like, well, I want a card with EIN only. Well, here's the thing about it. How old is the file, right? If you're trying to go EIN only, how old is the file? What type of trade lines you're trying to get that business credit card from Sam's Club, all right? This is very important because a lot of people, well, I'm going to go get the Sam's Club with EIN only. Yes, you can, but you have to have several, I wouldn't say several, I would tell you at least between 4 to 5 trade lines, financial trade lines on the file. So that's the reason why when I tell you guys to use NAB, because it gives you 2 trade lines, to use Fair Figure because they also report to the business credit bureaus as well for their trade line as well. And depending on if you're generating at least $2,500 or more in your business, then Fair Figure will give you 2 trade lines just like NAB. They're similar to NAB, except they actually give you a loan where NAB gives you the unsecured charge card, okay? So that's the difference between those two, but that's 4 trade lines in itself, right? So that's the reason why I'm telling you it's certain type of ways to build up the file in order for you to get approved for business credit cards. Now, let's talk about Navy Federal. Now, here's the thing about it with Navy Federal that people don't understand. With Navy Federal, you do need 2 type of scores, okay? That's your personal credit score of at least a 660, like I said, and then also your internal score. Now, your internal score usually has to be around 300 or 330. So that's the reason why you have to have multiple accounts with Navy Federal. And there's something else with Navy Federal. With Navy Federal, they won't give you a business credit card off the back, okay? They want to see you actually doing deposits. So that's the reason why I tell people it takes them about 30 days to open up the account. And then once they open up the account, you start making your deposits, okay? Give it about another 30 or 60 days to start making small deposits. I don't care if it's 25, 50, 150 every week, but making those weekly deposits. Now, does payroll make a difference when it comes to business credit cards? Well, for most creditors and stuff, they will look at stated income, okay? They will look at stated income, your overall stated income. However, where payroll plays the situation is that say that you not only want the business credit card, but you want the business line of credit. And I'm going to talk about this more in a separate video. The thing about it, setting up payroll, it assures that you have a strong relationship in the banking industry and you're able to show proof of actual income, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're out here doing Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and you're a registered business, but you don't have payroll, you're actually missing out on money, all right? So I hope this video helps you. If you have any other questions about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.